Hello, and welcome to Trust 23. Thank you for joining us, and I'm Eric Yao, Chief Operating Officer at Precisely, and I'll be your host for the Data Integrity Summit starting now. We have an exciting lineup of speakers from across the data ecosystem over the next 2 days. And to kick things off, I'm delighted to welcome our first keynote speaker, Precisely CEO Josh Rogers. Josh will discuss the powerful macro forces and business impacts driving today's data strategies and technology investments. Josh will then join a panel discussion moderated by Precisely CMO Kevin Wayne on the latest data integrity research with special guests from the Center for Business Analytics at Drexel University's LeBow College of Business.
Hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to welcome you to our 4th annual Data Integrity Summit, Trust 23. Since we debuted the Precisely brand at the first Data Integrity Summit in 2020, the event has grown in both size and significance. We're delighted to bring together thousands of data leaders and practitioners, as well as tech partners and industry experts, to reflect on the state of data and get ready for what's coming next. For me, as Precisely CEO, it's a time to reflect on our journey and the role we play in helping companies achieve data integrity, especially in turbulent times. I came across this quote that I think describes the current environment and the risks and opportunities that exist today. The world is experiencing a level of disruption and business risk not seen in generations. Some companies freeze and fail, while others innovate, advance, and even thrive. I think I can speak for all of us when I say I want to be on the side of innovation and advancement, both for our company's success and our own professional growth. No one can deny that the last couple of years have been an absolute whirlwind. I'm going to take a few minutes to reflect on the sheer magnitude of the changes we've experienced, the business impacts, and some of the responses we've seen in the market to innovate, advance, and thrive. First and foremost, we all know the pandemic created a seismic shift that impacted virtually every part of daily life for a protracted period of time. As businesses, we pivoted to a remote workforce where possible, connecting everyone via technology and reducing physical office footprints. It wasn't enough to just be connected. We put more focus on employee health, safety, and engagement than ever before to retain employees during difficult times. Despite those efforts, a variety of factors, mostly around working conditions, personal priorities, and tight labor markets, led to the Great Resignation. In fact, the quit rate reached a 20-year high in the U.S. in November of 2021. Being at home and online also accelerated digital transformation, with e-commerce sales increasing by 43% in 2020. And 75% of consumers reported they changed their buying behavior patterns for good. The digital boom has also raised the stakes for both cybersecurity and data privacy. Data theft, leaks, and breaches will cost companies $8 trillion in 2023. And we are seeing increased regulatory and consumer scrutiny on how companies manage personal data. A survey by Prosper Insight and Analytics showed that 64.5% of consumers would like to see legislation that prevents companies from selling their personal data. ESG and corporate social responsibility have become core operating tenets for enterprises as they embrace their responsibility around environmental and social causes and provide greater transparency in how they do business along those lines. In fact, more than 90% of S&P 500 companies now publish ESG reports. In addition, unprecedented geopolitical instability has also created sustained global economic uncertainty. From Brexit and U.S.-China trade tensions to the war in Ukraine, the World Uncertainty Index is at an all-time high. We saw a significant spike in demand for goods and services emerging from the pandemic. That led to increased inflation. That caused the Federal Reserve Bank and banks around the world to dramatically raise interest rates, resulting in the most rapid succession of interest rate increases in 40 years. The rapid rise in interest rates created unintended consequences, and in particular impaired the value of loan portfolios that led to the failure of Silicon Valley Bank and the merger of Credit Suisse. I can tell you, as a CEO of a large global organization, it has been a true challenge to navigate this set of forces over the last several years. This whirlwind of macroeconomic forces has caused enterprises to constantly reevaluate planned investments and potential return scenarios over the past few years. As they have grappled with one shock after another, including unpredictable consumer demand, supply chain disruption, accelerating sources of competition, increased cyber risk, increased investments in data privacy and ESG, talent shortage and skill gaps in key areas and industries. To survive and grow, businesses need to improve their agility to operate in these environments, and they're looking to technology to help them respond to these impacts. The most common initiatives businesses are investing in to be more agile include digital transformation, cloud adoption, advanced analytics and predictive modeling, privacy and security, distributed workforce management, artificial intelligence and machine learning-based automation, and supply chain resilience. Regardless of which, if not all of these technologies your organization is embracing, they will require high-integrity data to be successful. We recently surveyed data leaders in partnership with Drexel University's LeBeau College of Business. Our colleagues from LeBeau Center of Business Analytics will be joining us next to talk about key findings from this report. I will give you a sneak preview, however, into the top 5 goals for data programs in 2023. Number 5 is regulatory compliance. Number 4 is revenue generation. Number 3 is cost reduction. Number 2 is operational efficiency. And the number 1 goal for data programs in 2023 is data-driven decision-making. We all know that decision-making grounded in data will deliver greater business agility and help you achieve goals 2 through 5. You can drive greater efficiency, reduce costs, increase revenue, satisfy reporting requirements if you have the right information at your disposal at the right time for the right purpose. But we all know that's easier said than done. What we see from our customers is that the typical journey to get there looks something like this. You generate data in your applications. It's hard to get at, so you bring it together, but it's not accurate. So you fix it, you clean up those mistakes, but you don't have all the right attributes you need in your data. So you bring in external sources of data and then hook that together with your firm-generated data. This process is complicated, and Precisely is the only company that can help you across that entire journey from developing the data strategy to delivering the capabilities you need where you are now and where you want to go in the future. Our mission is to help enterprises achieve data integrity, data that is accurate, consistent, and contextualized, so you can make more confident business decisions based on trusted data. In other words, we're here to help you innovate, advance, and yes, thrive. And we've lined up an impressive group of business leaders and industry experts at Trust 23 to help you move further, faster. Now we're going to take a few minutes to discuss the impact of all the trends on data leaders like yourselves. I'd like to invite our colleagues from the LeBeau College of Business who conducted the annual Data Integrity Insights and Trends Report to join me and our moderator, Precisely Chief Marketing Officer, Kevin Ruane. Let's dig into the data.
The Center for Business Analytics at Drexel University's LeBeau College of Business is a hub of collaboration that brings together academia and industry. The results? Powerful, data-driven insights for businesses and an invaluable experience for the next generation of data analytics leaders.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you at Trust 23. And I'm particularly excited about our next segment. We're going to highlight new research conducted in partnership with the Center for Business Analytics at Drexel University's LeBeau College of Business. Together, we surveyed more than 450 data leaders from around the world about their data programs and priorities for 2023. It's been a tremendous honor to once again work with the LeBeau team. They are just as passionate as we are about data integrity and achieving trusted data for confident decisions. Now let's meet our panelists and discuss the key findings of this year's research report. First, I'd like to welcome Murugan Anandarajan, Professor of Decision Sciences and the Senior Associate Dean for Academic Programs. Murugan also serves as the Academic Director for the Center for Business Analytics, where he works to develop innovative approaches to business analytics research and curricula.
Thank you, Kevin. Excited to be here.
Next, I'd like to introduce Diana Jones, the Executive Director of the Center for Business Analytics. Diana connects companies with faculty and students to engage in research, data-driven projects, and experiences that prepare students for future analytics roles.
It's a pleasure to be here, Kevin. We're looking forward to sharing the results.
And fresh off his keynote, we're thrilled to be rejoined by Precisely CEO Josh Rogers. As many of our customers in the audience know, Josh is passionate about their success and the many ways that Precisely can put its data integrity capabilities and expertise to work to deliver value. What you may not know is that Josh dedicates a meaningful portion of his time to connecting early in career talent with new opportunities for development and growth in business. Great to have you on the panel, Josh.
Thanks, Kevin.
So let's get started. In Josh's keynote, we heard about some of the powerful macro forces that are creating significant challenges for enterprises of all sizes across all industries. Murugan, I'm curious, what business needs or challenges are impacting data leaders the most today?
So the results showed us that over 77% of the organizations who responded to this survey named data-driven decision-making as their top goal. And not only that, they also showed that they wanted to make faster decisions. And what we found was the way they achieved this was through advanced analytics, tools to break down the data silos, and improve data quality. There were three underlying characteristics of these organizations. Number one is they had a data strategy in place. Number two, they had a data governance program. And number three, they rated their data quality as high.
Diana?
Well, Kevin, we found that the gap in talent and skills was prevalent across survey results. We saw that two of the top challenges facing the success of organizations' data programs were data literacy and shortage of skills. As you can imagine, that kind of gap in talent has adverse effects across organizations. In fact, more than half of the organizations that we surveyed said that a lack of skills and staff prevent them from achieving the high-quality data that they need. So 48% also say that their data integration projects are impacted by lack of expertise. So we see these effects as pretty prevalent across all results.
Josh?
Yeah, we see a couple things with customers. I'll pick, kind of two ends of the spectrum. One is just the data strategy and where to start and how to craft that. Because you're trying to make those decisions in the context of real projects that are trying to get delivered, and so getting that off the ground, getting buy-in to that's a complicated approach. And we work with customers through our strategic services team to kind of help them understand how to craft that strategy in the context of business outcomes they're looking for, as well as how to kind of articulate that strategy to a broader team. On the skills side, what we're seeing is that customers are looking for more value from tooling that is easier for lower skill resources to engage with, as well as more comprehensive. And so that certainly is reflected in our product strategy, which is to try and make it easier for customers to kind of move along further and faster this data integrity journey with an easier use kind of interface and a comprehensive set of skill or capabilities that allow folks to do more with the existing skills they have in-house.
Excellent. I think we all understand, no matter what industry you're in, kind of staying on top of and abreast of the trends is really important. Murugan, what are data leaders really focused on from a trends perspective, and how is that influencing their data strategies?
So one of the interesting things was when we looked at although there was an economic downturn, we found that there was increased investment in automation, cloud adoption, and an increased focus on financial reporting and predictive analytics. And we found that the top trends in the overall organizational data strategy was cloud adoption, advanced analytics, workflow automation, digital transformation, and artificial intelligence and machine learning, as well as data ops. And to me, this was not too surprising because we see a movement towards decision intelligence where we're talking about the human being supported by technology, so they call it human plus. So where organizations can make more automated decisions or augment their decisions using humans and technology. So those are the trends that I noticed within the data.
What trends are you looking at, Diana?
Yeah, another trend that we're seeing is that companies are investing in digital transformation and automation to help them reduce costs and also maximize their existing resources.
Are these the same trends, Josh, you're seeing in the market?
We certainly see those trends. I mean, we see it in a couple of ways. One is that this notion of AI and automation, which is a real demand driver, frankly, for data integrity, right? That for those initiatives to be successful, those technologies to produce the business outcomes you're looking for, it just raises the stakes. You have to have high integrity data. And so that's a key kind of demand that we see from customers. The second is in our products, we actually are using some of those capabilities, AI-based capabilities, to help data practitioners be able to more quickly or more easily, create and manage rules from a data quality perspective. And so we certainly see those trends, and it's something that I think we're living through a very exciting time. I think businesses, as I said in my keynote, require this high level of agility to react to, kind of changing macroeconomic environments. But they also want to be, they want to be agile, but they want to do that in a decision-driven way or data-driven way. And so, we've never seen this focus on data strategy and data kind of based decisioning. It's never been higher, and so it's a great opportunity for us to engage with customers.
Now, this is the second time that LeBeau and Precisely have teamed up for a study. Previously, we did it around data governance, broadening it this time to focus more broadly on data integrity. I think my favorite thing is you just never quite know what the results are going to show. Diana, what surprised you the most?
Well, as we know, data quality was cited as the #1 challenge and the #1 priority across organizations, which really isn't surprising. But what was surprising to see was just how pervasive data quality is across the study, from human capital to foundational assets, affecting things like executive support for data programs and also the infrastructure required to run those programs.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly see that theme, and I'd say a couple of trends we've seen is one is let's say the definition of data quality has grown a bit, which is, not only is it correct and accurate, but is it well governed? Can I trust this data because it is governed? And then kind of this measurement over time, right? Just because you fix something one day doesn't mean it's going to stay fixed. It can change, and so this notion of observability. So I think it's really about how do you build a system that is always on, that's always scanning that data kind of across the environment and allowing the business to engage with that data to constantly improve it. And it's a more sophisticated view than what we would have seen 10 years ago. But when you look at the complexity of data and the amount of data that customers are ingesting and wanting to analyze, it's clearly required.
Morgan, I know that nothing really surprises you, but there had to be something in the report. What stood out?
Well, I was surprised to see the amount of times location-related data and spatial analytics was mentioned. For example, 76% of the respondents reported that their reliance on accurate location data for decision-making. They talked about purchasing tools that help them to derive insights for spatial analytics. And I also found that location-related data was strongly associated with the quality of data.
Yeah, so I mean, this is something that we talk a lot about. We have a large kind of set of capabilities and business in this space. And it comes down to this element of context. I mean, we certainly have capabilities to help people build maps. But what we see in the more sophisticated users is they're using spatial analytics capabilities to do additional calculations to add additional attributes to an entity, whether that's a product or a consumer. And so what we see is that context really helps you understand this entity better and make sure that it is correct. And you have the benefit of being able to kind of compare and do that off of a thing like an address that has a known location and build these attributes in a very confident way to give you more context and more accuracy. And so I think it's a really powerful tool that we see customers adopting more and more across a wide variety of industries and a wide variety of use cases.
In such a rapidly changing dynamic environment like the one we're in, it seems like probably for many members of our audience, they're kind of focused on what's around the corner and what's coming next. Morgan, did you pick up on any signals in the research? Is there anything that you're going to be keeping a particular close eye on as we go forward here?
Yeah, I think what I found was more and more companies are looking at ways to enrich their data with third-party information, because just having your internal data is not sufficient in this complex world. So one of the top priorities was to enlarge or to increase the data enrichment. And also, I found the number of data integration projects. The companies found it difficult to integrate various data formats. I also found that organizations were moving from being passive observers to more active users now.
Yeah. What signals did you pick up on, Diana? What are you going to be keeping a watch out for?
Well, something else to watch relates to the challenges facing the success of organizations' data programs, where we found that 45% struggle with effective data management tools. Another finding from the survey shows that companies struggle with viewing their data from a holistic approach, so managing their data assets in a way that really connects to the business objectives. As educators at Drexel LeBeau, this really resonates with us, and this type of insight validates our approach to preparing analytics leaders, where we're training them to take this integrated approach that really couples the data management piece with the critical thinking components for this more comprehensive view and ultimately better view of decision making. So as organizations are working to achieve this holistic view and harness the power of their own data, it is our job to prepare the next generations of practitioners to help companies get to where they need to be.
Yeah. Josh, what do you see next, kind of looking ahead in the market?
Yeah, I mean, I pick up on a couple of points. On the enrichment side, we see a huge demand for the ability for organizations to easily add additional attributes through acquiring data products, and that is a hard problem to solve. If I have 100 million customers and I want to add a dozen attributes to that data set, I've got to procure those data sets. I got to figure out how do I connect at the right level. There's no universal key to do that necessarily, and so it's a big kind of thorny problem, and we are working closely with customers to make that easier and allow our software to not only be able to help do that integration, but our data products to have some of these kind of universal keys that can link these things up, and it's a hard problem to solve, but I think we're making progress. And then on the data leader side, I think just the engagement between business and data and data leaders is so important, and I think that's where this notion of governance is very much headed, right? It's certainly there is an element of governance around, I call it the defensive kind of use of governance, which is I want to be in compliance with various regulations, and that is hard because they are changing. But there is the kind of the offensive use, which is I want my data to be used by the business, and so for that, business users have to be able to access it. They have to understand what's available. They have to know if they can trust it. And that's where a very robust kind of data governance program, when it's firing on all cylinders, enables that kind of data-driven decision by getting the business engaged with the data assets.
This has been a great discussion. Clearly, data leaders are being called upon more than ever to deliver trusted data for confident business decisions. And they're doing so, in many cases, under really challenging circumstances. Thank you, Murugan, Diana, and Josh, for your time and insights. Expect to see the full LeBeau and Precisely data integrity research released to market in early June. We're going to make sure it's made available to all of our Trust 23 participants. You can also expect to hear more from LeBeau and Precisely on our continued collaboration. We're just getting started together. And I can't encourage you enough to be on the lookout for the upcoming Analytics 50 Awards program from the Center for Business Analytics. Have a great rest of your Trust 23 experience.
For the data governance organization and Perigo as a whole, our focus in 23 is going to be around our analytic data. So it's moving beyond our operational data and moving more into monitoring the offtake data and monitoring any additional analytic data that is not used for our operation. So I'm working with the business a lot on gathering their KPIs and then educating them. So it comes into the play where we're wanting to educate them in the data drivers around what's behind their KPIs. Getting them that understanding, that's going to drive a lot of that analytic accuracy, and then giving those decision makers really reliable information. They have it today. A lot of that data can be kept on spreadsheets or in Access databases, but we don't have a place where we want to build that source of the truth. And like I said, we really want to get to that source of the truth. And so we use the Precisely Govern tool, and we're going to be expanding that. So we've done a lot of transformation projects over the course of the last 3 years We want to take all of that information that we spent a lot of time gathering and analyzing and all this KPIs, information that we're building and putting it into governance so that we know the good data quality, we know the usage of that data, we know the lineage of that data, and then building on that ownership, because ownership is another key thing, and people step away when we start talking about ownership. So it's ownership and accountability that we want to do that.
Well, I think the key element to take into the consideration is first to keep it simple, and secondly to always keep the link with business value. So data governance is not an objective in itself. It is, on top of that, it is something difficult to explain to stakeholders. It is abstract. So you have to find something easy to start. On the other end, everyone is aware that data quality is really key to be efficient in the day-to-day operations, or even to take the right decision. So data quality is something that everybody understands to be something very important. So data quality improvement is for me the easiest lever to start your data governance journey with the involvement of business stakeholders. So embedding data quality within your data governance frameworks from day one is certainly the way to go, and a real key success factor.
Now that we've heard a high-level take on some of the biggest trends impacting data initiatives, let's take a closer look at how technology enables best practices for data integration, governance, quality, observability, enrichment, spatial analytics, and more. Up next, I'd like to welcome Precisely Chief Product Officer Anjan Kundavaram and Emily Washington, Senior Vice President of Product Management, to talk about the latest innovations in the Data Integrity Suite.
Thanks, Eric. It's great to be here today at Trust 23. As you all heard in Josh's keynote, you need a solid data strategy to innovate, compete, and grow in this tough macroeconomic environment. And a great data strategy starts with ensuring your data has accuracy, consistency, and the proper context. You need data integrity. Unfortunately, what I hear from customers I talk to every day really aligns with the challenges reported in Drexel research. It resonates that 76% of data practitioners are trying to improve their data-driven decision-making, and more than half don't truly trust their data. While resource constraints present the #1 challenge to building the data strategy customers need. Your teams are building complex, hybrid, multi-cloud environments, moving critical data workloads to the cloud, and wrestling with data quality challenges. And you're all trying to do more with less. That's why Precisely's vision is to make data integrity in the world of modern data stacks easy, so you can do more with less. Now, this journey from complex to simple is something you've seen before. Do you remember how hard it used to be to get infrastructure? It would literally take months to get the hardware you needed and install that in your environment. And then AWS came along and made it easy to get infrastructure in minutes. Just swipe your credit card and you had the infrastructure in the cloud. It was easy. Then your challenge became setting up data warehouses or pipelines in your environment. And you again were confronted by complex projects that took months to give you access to the data when you needed it. And hopefully you never had to move it. Fortunately, two companies, Databricks and Snowflake, used the same concept that made AWS successful to give you access to data in minutes. Again, it was easy. But you still have challenges. Most of you have data on multiple data clouds and in VPCs, and your data clouds have the same data integrity challenges you've always had, but amplified. Users can't find the data they need. They can't get it in a timely fashion. The data isn't in a usable format. People don't really understand it. And bottom line, you just can't trust it. And that's why My team at Precisely is focused on helping you trust your data. We have a unique and innovative vision for data integrity that supports new use cases in modern data stacks, and you can build data integrity in minutes. Let me share the 6 key tenets of our vision and how it is different from what you've experienced before. I'll start with changing dynamic around data ownership. In the past, business and IT had friction over who had access to data and when. So Precisely's first tenet for data integrity is that business and IT must partner in the management of their data and its integrity. Your business and IT teams need a simple, seamless data integrity solution that enables you to collaborate on making data accessible, ensuring its quality and enriching it with third-party context and more. Second, we know that in the past, you've struggled to get speedy access to data for operational and analytical use cases. Slow, batch, brittle, ETL processes left users waiting to get data they need, and they never got it in time for impact. We believe that data should be delivered when business users need it, in real time, and where they need it, whether that's in the cloud or any other environment. The third tenet of our vision addresses the challenges you face managing data in multi-cloud environments with data management tools that require the data to be where the tool runs, which means you've had to make multiple copies of your data to manage it. One for data governance, one for data quality, another for master data management, and on and on. Precisely believes data integrity processes must run wherever your data is, on-prem, in Snowflake, in Databricks, anywhere. No more copies. And along these same lines, our fourth tenet addresses the challenges you face getting your arms around complex, rapidly expanding data. It's been a struggle to have a holistic understanding of where your data comes from, how it's used, and which data is most critical to your business. But our vision is to ensure that business and IT users share a single scalable metadata catalog, so everyone understands that both business and technical context around your data. And you also told us that your team spent too much time searching for the root cause of data issues and creating and managing rules for things like data quality, data enrichment, and data governance. Time you'd rather spend on critical business priorities. Precisely's vision is that data integrity processes must be automated with AI and large language models. Processes like identifying data issues, creating recommendations for data quality rules, and managing those rules over time, saving you hours, maybe days of productivity. And finally, the sixth tenet of our vision is that heavy data management platforms that require you to buy more services that you need or are complex to deploy and maintain are not what you need or anyone else wants today. Precisely's vision is to let you choose just the data integrity services you need, when you need them, and have those capabilities interoperate seamlessly. Interoperability needs to extend beyond the services in the data integrity suite. It needs to include interoperability with your current investments too, which Emily will talk about in just a few minutes. We believe in a truly open ecosystem for our customers. These 6 tenets, all designed with the challenges our customers face in mind, encapsulate Precisely's vision for a new way to manage data integrity in modern data stacks. It's the vision that guided the introduction of Data Integrity Suite at Trust 22 just a year ago. And that vision, along with many customer conversations, has steered the massive expansion of Suite services and capabilities that I'm so excited to announce today, including a new data quality service that cleans, standardizes, and verifies data where it is with a business-friendly interface. Anyone can build data quality pipelines in minutes. Easy access to address validation, geocoding, and data enrichment, both in the Suite's data quality pipeline as well as cloud-native APIs. New data observability alerts on things like schema drift and data freshness, along with consolidated insights and control over these alerts. A unified data catalog of business and technical metadata that connects all the Suite services and provides easy searchability, and support for hundreds of new connectors for data integration including applications, BI tools, and many popular cloud platforms. The launch of these exciting capabilities will enable new use cases for our customers, and the pace of new features will only accelerate. To tell you more, I am thrilled to introduce Emily Washington, our SVP of Product Management for the Data Integrity Suite, to share more about how the Precisely team is bringing our vision for modern data integrity to the market and show you its latest features. Emily, over to you.
Great, thanks, Anjan. So as Anjan just discussed the challenges organizations like you are sharing with us as you evolve your data ecosystems into new cloud and hybrid environments, and you've heard our vision of the future of data integrity. Now, I want to transition to how we've delivered on this vision and how we're solving challenges we know you may still be struggling with. This is why we've introduced the Data Integrity Suite last year, and we're rolling out major new capabilities here at Trust 23. We want to ensure you can leverage the deep domain expertise in the products you know from us while delivering on the vision Anjan walked through. We have decades of experience bringing the best-in-class data integration, data quality, data governance, location intelligence, and data enrichment to you. And the Data Integrity Suite allows you to tap into those capabilities easier, faster, and with the scalability needed for your hybrid cloud environment. To do that, we've introduced a number of new exciting capabilities that are available today. First, to accelerate our vision of enabling business and IT collaboration and sharing data insights, we brought data governance as a SaaS service into the Precisely Data Integrity Suite. This gives users greater visibility into the most critical data assets across your enterprise. Data integration is another key aspect of data integrity, and it's a top priority for our customers who need to build highly performant, scalable, streaming data pipelines with an easy, modern user experience. So we've delivered on a data integration service that allows you to replicate data from your trusted sources, such as mainframe, IBM, Oracle, to modern technologies like Kafka, Snowflake, and Databricks. And today, we are so excited to have announced hundreds of connectors of additional sources to support your diverse landscape. Our vision is also grounded in bringing data integrity processes to the data and not the other way around. And the Data Integrity Suite delivers on that in several areas. For example, many of you are working with our Data Observability service, which allows you to proactively monitor data trends, flag most frequently accessed data, and alert on potential problems in your data before it impacts downstream systems. To complement data observability, we've reimagined data quality to be more intelligently driven by incorporating the best-of-breed capabilities from Trillium, Spectrum, and Data 360. You can now fix and enrich data through a modern and guided user experience with lightweight deployment services. And our best-in-class address verification and geocoding can be applied within your data quality design experience or directly through modern, flexible API options, allowing you to enhance address data directly in your environment. It's also really important that all these things connect for your users. Anjan mentioned how critical a shared catalog of business and technical metadata is, so you have a more holistic understanding of your data and your data products. And that's why we've integrated Data Integrity Suite services with a common data catalog. The catalog is an integral part of the suite that enables users to have a more unified experience and connect insights from across the suite and your environment. Another key element of our vision is the use of artificial intelligence to automate data integrity processes. Through the ability to leverage shared metadata, profiles, user behavior, and more, we're bringing intelligent recommendations to the forefront of your data integrity processes to provide even more value. And while these services can run on their own to solve data problems, their value is exponentially multiplied when they interoperate within the suite, within the broader Precisely portfolio, and with other solutions in your data ecosystem, enabling you to use capabilities you need when you need them. Now I'm about to ask Cam Ogden, VP of Product Management for the Data Integrity Suite, to join me to demonstrate how these use cases are providing integrated value. So let's get to the demo, where we'll focus on 3 key use cases we're speaking with so many of you about. Let's take a fictitious company, ABC Global, that needs to be more proactive in understanding customer account changes and finding new business opportunities. The data team has been tasked with building fast, high-quality data pipelines that sales and marketing can use for reporting, analytics, and self-service. In order to solve this problem, there are a few steps that are needed. First, the team needs to build data pipelines and raise data literacy so business users know where to find the data. Then, they need to cleanse and enrich to ensure the data is usable. And finally, they need to make sure the data is governed and monitored for future changes. First, let's start with the ability to build data pipelines and raise data literacy. Cam, let's show the team how ABC Global's data engineer quickly builds a data pipeline between two different sources, while simultaneously cataloging the data for easy discovery and comprehension by business users.
All right, thanks, Emily. So I'm logged into the Data Integrity Suite, and my first step is to get my customer information into a common place where my analytics team can access it. But before we do that, we need to make sure that we're connected to our data sources within ABC Global. And so I'm going to use our connections panel here within the suite. And the great thing about this connections page is that it has a single place to manage all connections across all services within the Data Integrity Suite. And adding a connection is really easy. We have over 100 scheduled data replication connections that I can browse and search for over here. And I also see existing connections that I've set up before in the past. The great thing about these connections is that I can also use this opportunity to catalog the data as it exists within these sources. And so data users and different business stakeholders that might not have access directly to the data sources, I can catalog this data, and then that data gets propagated and is available within the Suite's data catalog. But now that I have my connections established within the sources here at ABC Global, I can build my data pipeline to get the customer information that we have into a common place. And here I have an option to use mainframe replication if I have mainframe sources, or use continuous replication for streaming use cases, or schedule replication, which is what I'll choose here if I'm interested more in setting up a schedule on when I want to replicate this data between a source and a target. And setting up these pipelines is really easy. All I need to do is give it a name. And as I go to the next page, I can choose from the source connection in the target that was already set up as a part of the connections page that we saw earlier. And then on my last page here, I can see the schema, tables, and columns that are available within the source. And so this lets me know exactly what I'm going to replicate. In this case, this is a customer table with some column entries here within our SQL environment. As I go to finish this pipeline, this is going to auto-catalog the data that will be available in our data catalog. So by clicking on the catalog, as a business user or really any stakeholder here at ABC Global, I can search for this information and get a whole host of metadata that has been automatically identified and curated as a part of the Suite's cataloging process. I'm also presented with a sample quality view over here to the right that starts to let me know what's the trustworthiness and the health and the efficacy of this data so that I can begin to work with it from here. Back over to you, Emily.
Great, thanks, Cam. So let me recap that. You just saw the ability to see connections to critical data sources like SQL and Snowflake. Cam built and scheduled a pipeline, and during that process, he automatically harvested the metadata, which is now visible in the integrated catalog that all data consumers can search and discover. Now, the team at ABC Global needs to clean and enrich this data so it can be trusted for reporting and analytics. Cam, let's show them how we do that.
All right, so from here, I'm given a sample of the data set in Snowflake. And the key here is that this data didn't have to get moved out of Snowflake. We're just taking a sample that gives us more information about what the data looks like and what's the effort that we might need to go through to clean up the data set. So as I select on the columns, I can also get additional profile characteristics around the data sample, the distribution, and other statistics about the data set. The suite also uses artificial intelligence to group the columns into entities. So in this case, I see that I have a location entity. And if I scroll down the data set, I also see that I have a couple of columns that have been grouped around contact details. Now that I understand more about the data set, I might have a question about, well, where do I start? how do I clean up this data? Well, this is where the suite really makes it easy in being able to provide transformation suggestions to apply different data quality operators to clean up the data set. In this case, it's recommending a standardization operator to clean up the country field, or I can use a verify and geocoding operator, which allows me to verify the addresses, but also geocode them as well. And the transformation preview allows me to see what this operator will do before I execute the rule. This gives me a window into the original data as it exists within Snowflake, but I can also see what this transformation will do if I apply the operator. And so this allows me to see around the corner and look ahead and see what the addresses would be changed into. But I can also see additional geocoding information over here to the right, such as latitude and longitude information, and also different geocoding levels. The last thing that this transformation preview does is that it assigns these addresses to a precisely ID, which is a unique key that I can apply additional data enrichment attributes to in my next step. So this looks pretty good. I'm going to apply this operator, and now that operator is placed here at the top of my pipeline. So now that my addresses have been verified and geocoded, let's make sure that we can provide our data analytics team and our business users with some additional business context. And this is what our data enrichment operator will do. This is integrated in with the data quality service in the suite. And using the Precisely ID, we can append different data enrichment attributes to this data set that ABC Global doesn't have today. We can use different Precisely attributes, such as property and risk information, to add to this data set, which will give our users enhanced data context and richness. So those are just a couple of ways on how we can apply operators to clean up the data without having to move it out of Snowflake. And once that pipeline is in a place where I'm comfortable with and I'm ready to go, I can run this pipeline by deploying it back into the Snowflake environment. And as this pipeline gets run and deployed within Snowflake, that new data set will be cataloged in the Suite's data catalog for my data consumers and business users to use for their use cases and their reporting purposes.
That's awesome, Cam. Thank you. So let's recap that. You saw how a data engineer was able to view sample data and extensive profile details to trigger a data quality pipeline. In an interactive designer, you were able to see how easy it was to get suggestions to parse, validate, and geocode addresses. Through the unique Precisely ID, we were able to enrich original data sets to enhance with business context. Now let's see how easy it is to ensure the data stays clean and secured.
All right, great. Thanks, Emily. So my data pipeline has been built and I've cleansed and enriched the data, but now I need to make sure that it stays clean. And so to do that, I can use the Suite's data observability service to monitor any unexpected changes in the data. And I'm going to access that by clicking right here within the catalog over to data observability. And here within data observability, I can see my customer cleanse table that was created out of my data quality pipeline. And as I select this table, I can apply different data observability metrics, such as looking at the freshness of the data, any skews in the volume, any drifts in the data, or the schema itself. And the configuration option allows me to use different artificial intelligence parameters here, where I can be notified of confidence-based alerts. So if the data drops into a yellow or red territory, it will look for patterns and anomalies and will send me a notification. Or I can use threshold-based alerts where I can set the value myself. So as I set up this observer, I can also choose to run it on a schedule, whether I want to run it daily or weekly at a given time. And I can also choose other team members that might need to be notified of the changes of the data. So if my entire data ops team wants to see how this information is changing, or downstream business users or data analytics users that are using this data set. So I'm going to save this observer. And what the observer does is it then allows us to see different alerts on the data as it changes. So we can see within this table that we have a critical alert here for a change in volume. We have a drop off in the amount of the volume over a day. And so this is helpful in being able to give our data and analytics team a look ahead into how the reporting might be off, or perhaps give a notification to our governance team that this information has changed in some way and there might be a business disruption that will occur as a result of it. So now that we're monitoring this information, let's make sure that we're applying the right governance parameters to make sure that we have ownership and accountability to take care of the data going forward. All right, so we can use the Suite's data governance service to set the right governance parameters, such as making sure that we have a right data owner assigned, a data steward, and that this information is certified and ready for use. And our diagrams also give us great visualizations to understand more information about this data, such as where this information flows within the environment, how it's used in different business processes, so we can understand how it impacts our operational teams. And lastly, our business impact diagram that gives us a picture into the relationships of what business objectives, processes, and metrics this information drives. And this all helps us make better governance decisions so that we can provide incremental value to the ABC Global team. Back to you, Emily.
Thanks so much, Cam. That was great. Cam showed how easy it is to observe the data for changes in freshness, volume, and drift. He was able to set governance parameters to make sure that the data is owned and certified. And you saw how he was able to connect the data to ABC Global Analytics and top-level business objectives, so everyone at ABC Global knows how the data drives the business. And even more compelling, these three scenarios work together to provide end-to-end value. So now ABC Global can confidently work with customer account data and analyze data with accuracy and accountability. And as I mentioned, these three use cases are ones we're regularly speaking with so many of you about. And all of the capabilities being released align to the aspects of the data integrity vision Anjan covered, including business and IT collaboration, streaming data pipelines, running data processes where the data is, with a shared catalog and AI-driven intelligence, and all within a flexible, modular, and interoperable suite of services. And this interoperability is of the utmost importance as we look at extending value for those of you using existing Precisely products. For example, if you're using one of our data quality products like Trillium, Spectrum, or Data 360, we have proven ways to integrate the metadata and profiles to add data governance management or extend to observability. Or if you're using our existing data integration products, we've introduced new ways to replicate data to more modern sources in an easier way. So whether you've been using Precisely for years or you're brand new, there are a number of ways to leverage the Data Integrity Suite to improve the trustworthiness of your data. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Anjan.
Thank you, Emily and Cam. That was a great demo of the suite's latest features and how they solve real data challenges and business issues. As Emily mentioned, we're focused on supporting customers throughout their data integrity journey. And I know hearing from customers is more exciting than hearing from me. So I'd like to introduce Dan Doyle, the head of investment data management for Future Fund, based in Melbourne, Australia. Dan's going to share the data integrity challenges Future Fund has faced and how he's partnered with Precisely to execute a strategy for a new data marketplace. And of course, we'll hear more about Dan's plans for further enhancing Future Fund's data architecture. So welcome to Trust 23, Dan. I'm going to turn the mic over to you.
Thank you, Anjan. As introduced, my name is Daniel Doyle and I work for the Future Fund Management Agency. For those that don't know what we do, the Future Fund is Australia's sovereign wealth fund, and it's our purpose to invest for the benefit of future generations of Australia. At the Future Fund, my job is to look after the newly created investment data management business unit, and our purpose is very simple. It's to provide high quality, timely, and fit for purpose data to enable investment decision making. So as Anjan mentioned, there are two different topics I wanted to cover today. Firstly is how we think about data integrity for our critical processes. And secondly, how we are looking to use the data governance tooling, the integrity suite, to support the marketplace concept. So data integrity, it's absolutely central to everything we do. It means ensuring that the investment risk we calculate is based on the most accurate and complete data. It means that the information we analyze about the tens of thousands of companies we invest in is always accurate and complete. It means that the performance we calculate about our investments is based on 100% accurate data. And this is really where strong data governance comes into play. So one of the many ways we ensure our data integrity is to implement a significant number of data quality controls. but not just in our own environment, but throughout the entire flow of data from all of our different sources and vendors. We then perform our own stakeholder-specific data quality controls, and we profile the data, and we also reconcile the data between our different platforms and analytics tools and fund managers and service providers, etc. So the challenge here is, or in fact the challenge was, we've got all this rich data quality and reconciliation, information, metadata, but how can we combine that all together, show us how well the data is certified, provide that trust and assurance, and that integrity in the data to everyone at the agency. And this is where we use the Precisely DQ Plus tool, and very importantly, their managed services to support a number of different functions and capabilities. The first capability is reconciliations. Us and Precisely, have built our industrial and hardened reconciliations using the tool. In fact, the take-up for new reconciliations has been quite amazing. The second capability is the data quality metadata aggregation. So this is where we take the different certification outputs from various sources and we aggregate them together in the tool to provide a cross-vendor, cross-platform certification view of the data. And then finally, the third and fourth capabilities are tailored operational and management dashboards that we've built. The idea is that every team in the agency will have their own curated dashboard, so they can come into work in the morning and just know everything is good to go. So look, overall, we take an incredibly serious view of understanding and processing data quality and data integrity. Looking forward, there are also some quite exciting opportunities when it comes to data integrity. So we now have enough data to start running some ML and AI, and that coupled with the data lineage and data observability capabilities throughout the tooling should mean that we can start identifying potential issues that could impact our critical processes even before they occur, which is fascinating. The second topic is how we can use data governance to support our internal data marketplace. If we think about what a data marketplace is, it's what data set is available, what's the content of the data, what do the fields mean, what does it look like, how can I get access to it, etc. To bring this to life, as an example, in the investment industry, imagine you are looking for an ESG or climate data set, which you're going to ultimately use to understand what your investments look like from an ESG lens. You search for the marketplace, you search in the marketplace for the ESG data, you find the right source or the right vendor, you then get access to the data. So what you'll get is a list of companies and their ESG or climate information. What you won't get is the data matched to your actual investments at the same time. So standalone, the ESG data set has utility, but in the context of your portfolio of investments, the ESG data has real value. So over the next 2 months, we're rolling out our internal data marketplace, which also includes this matched contextualized layer, all supported through the Precisely Integrity Suite. In the tooling, we have built the business glossaries, the report libraries, the API libraries, the information model, etc. All of this is a drive towards greater self-service, and the adoption's been really positive, all supported through the tooling. Like the data integrity topic, however, this only works when there is a really strong data governance framework supported through strong data governance tooling. So that's all from me. I hope you enjoy the rest of the event, and back to you, Anjan.
Thanks, Dan. What a great story. I'm excited to continue partnering with you on data integrity as you advance Future Fund's data strategy. Thank you again. So now you've all heard Precisely's vision of data integrity for a modern data stack, a vision built with the challenges of our customers in mind. You've seen our new data quality service, new data observability alerts, new support for hundreds of data integration connectors, easy access to geo-addressing and data enrichment, and the integration of these powerful suite services through a unified data catalog. As I shared earlier, there's much more to come in 2023. So what's your next step? At the end of the keynote today, and again tomorrow, you can dig deeper in breakout sessions. You can go learn more about data integrity solutions you've heard about and saw in Cam's demo. I hope you'll take the opportunity to attend a breakout or two and learn more about how Precisely can partner with you to solve your data challenges. And I really encourage you to request a custom data integrity suite demo or a free trial. We can deliver that to you very, very quickly, or just reach out for a conversation. Whether you're building a modern data stack, or you're connecting to existing on-prem systems, or you're moving data from complex mainframes to new cloud platforms, we want to talk to you about how Precisely can help. Even if you're just beginning to define your data strategy, we're here to partner with you as you take your first steps. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of Trust 23.
The level of benefits received from automation can greatly vary and depend on the starting point. If the starting point is an IT environment that is highly complex, that is siloed, that has data sets that may not have the right data in them, maybe invalid data, then automation results may be minor. However, if automation is applied to environments that have gone through IT modernization or digital transformation, then the benefits may be significant. The reason for that is that in order to even get to IT modernization or digital transformation, organizations have to put in the foundational elements that are also required for automation. And these things include things like standardization of the IT environment, reducing the complexity of architectures, defining and simplifying processes, and validating the data. Automation is an enabler for organizations that have gone through IT modernization or digital transformation to reach the full potential of productivity, efficiency, reliability, and at the same time, reducing cost and errors.
Thank you, Anjan, Emily, and Cam, for that amazing introduction to the latest capabilities of the Data Integrity Suite. Nothing makes me happier than seeing innovation come to life to deliver immediate value to our customers, while also serving as the foundation for growth as your data integrity needs evolve. And now, I'd like to introduce you to three prominent experts in our space who will share the insights they've gathered while working with scores of companies going through digital transformation while also adopting modern tech stacks. First, I'd like to welcome Sanjeev Mohan, a thought leader in topics like modern cloud architectures and analytics, who has a passion for helping businesses discover what their data can do for them. Sanjeev is a former Gartner Research Vice President for Big Data and Advanced Analytics, and is now the principal analyst of his very own firm, Sanjmo. Thanks for joining me today, Sanjeev.
Thank you, Eric, for having me.
Great. Next, we have Atif Salam, who serves as an enterprise transformation and strategy advisor at AWS. Atif himself has over 20 years as an IT leader, including as head of data technology and chief data officer for a Fortune 100 financial services organization, where he led the modernization and cloud transformation initiatives, including AI/ML, analytics, and data governance programs. Today at AWS, Atif focuses his time on helping CDOs in the financial services industry with their cloud data strategies. Thanks for being a part of the panel today, Atif.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Great. And finally, I'm happy to welcome Precisely's own Dr. Tendu Yogurtsu. As our Chief Technology Officer, Tendu leads our emerging technologies practice and also partners closely with forward-thinking customers on their data and technology strategies. Her vision and expertise helps our customers deliver successful business solutions and drives Precisely's continued innovation. It's great to have you with us, Tendu.
My pleasure, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, let's get things started. And I think a quick question, I think for all of you would be, what does even modern mean today? I mean, things are evolving so rapidly in our space. So my first question is, when you're talking with chief data officers, CIOs, what are you seeing that's been evolving in even just the first 12 or 18 months ago?
So I'll tell you, Eric, 12 to 18 months ago, people were focused in ingesting data and building data lakes. And now on their data journey, they're focused on how to actually avoid making them data swamps or them turning into data swamps. How do they federate that data product into data domains so that business can get insights in a timely fashion?
That's really well said. I am starting to see there are two major trends that have come up this year. Basically, the modern architecture building blocks remain the same, but the focus this year is on how do I optimize my cost? We are facing some economic headwinds, so that's been a very major space. The other thing that I'm also starting to see is that businesses want to accelerate their time to value. They want to make decisions faster, and they know they have the data, but how do they get that information faster? So streamlining this architecture, what we call the modern data stack, is a really important factor for them.
Right, absolutely.
And Eric, as you know, I have been visiting a lot of our customers. Recently, I visited the European customers as well as several customers in the US. One of the main patterns that is coming out is data is now viewed as a product. So when we talk about data products as a tangible outcome, it also involves the discussions about data sharing, data marketplaces, and it's not just metadata, data with metadata.
Right.
So this conversation around data products drives three things. One, organizations are looking for better ways to get insights faster at scale, because we are seeing speed of change that we have not experienced before. They are looking for ways to get trusted insights, trusted data products. And the last one, but not least, is the conversation about data products is pushing organizations for better collaboration between the business and IT.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's kind of some great takeaways, I think, from all three of you, which is, good data in a timely fashion and not giving you business users, as you're saying, kind of this data swamp is really critical. In today's world, leveraging every dollar and optimizing kind of the spend to be able to get that timely information for improved decision-making. And that decision-making, Tendu, as you point out, is a very collaborative effort. It always has been, but when you're looking for more rapid decisions, it just becomes much more important to have that collaboration between business and IT. So that leads, I think, to a natural next question, which is, as organizations that we're chatting with are building these modern, tech architectures now, what are the challenges kind of that they're facing kind of in building them? And then also on the other side, what are they achieving? What are the results they get?
Yeah, so I think let's start with kind of defining that modern data architecture, right? So from my perspective, it's the right data at the right time at the right price point, right? That's what modern data architecture is supposed to achieve. Conventional architectures we know cannot deliver that. They're too brittle and they're too rigid and cannot lend themselves to scale or allow innovation as fast as businesses would like to see. So cloud adoption is the key to creating a modern data architecture environment. It brings that cost reduction. You talked about benefits, right? Organizations are exiting on-prem infrastructure and adopting to really offload the compute and data to cloud. And also, it's demystifying the ability to experiment in cloud and some of these new concepts like zero ETL and easier to understand data science and AI and ML. It's demystifying and making it easier for teams to adopt some of these new data practices. So it has reduced the lift for the developers, engineers, data scientists, and leaders, all of them.
Right. Agile, trusted data.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Sanjeev?
The challenge that I see is that the modern data architecture is getting micro-segmented into very specific, specialized tools. And that is leading to businesses trying to constantly figure out what is the best approach? How do I get these things to talk to each other? The interesting thing is that the solution lies in making metadata as a first-class citizen. Today, every product is gathering its own metadata, but because we don't have standards, so we are at a danger of having these islands of metadata, so yet another silos.
Right.
So we already went through silos for data, now we've got silos for metadata. So the exciting part is when we can unify the metadata plane, so we can then run more use cases, and we can then achieve all of these things like faster time to value and optimize our cost. So that's the exciting part about the modern data architecture.
It is really exciting. The business requirements to be able to kind of do a better understanding of your organization, whether it be customer, product, markets, is so important. And kind of this modernization of the technology stack to be able to enable that at a faster pace with more collaboration is absolutely critical. And placing workloads, Atif, as you're saying, kind of where they really need to be, and where the cloud, where it's possible, and fully leveraging metadata, which is just as important as the underlying data itself, to increase kind of the efficiency and optimization and innovation is kind of really, really important. Let's talk a little bit about some of the capabilities as part of this modern architecture. And we've continued to see challenges, around compliance and governance and data drift and so on. But let's talk about some of the technology itself: data quality, data governance, data observability. I know, Sanjeev, you focus quite a bit on data observability as part of your studies. Well, they've continued to evolve, and that's great. But how are you seeing them kind of in this ever-expanding need? How are these tools kind of that you're seeing kind of evolve to be able to better help support the needs?
Yeah. So one of the things, the basic requirement around data and becoming a data-driven organization, creating more value from data, is around trusted data, and trusted data in a timely fashion, right? So that's the basic requirement we are seeing. Now, the change in approach is becoming more proactive, as opposed to reactive data quality that maybe we have experienced a decade ago. How do we become more proactive as an organization? And how do we actually identify data issues before they become problems in the advanced analytics, the dashboards, the C-level is looking on a daily basis? So imagine a credit company, a credit scoring company, actually I was talking, they have billions of transactions coming from multiple sources on a daily basis. And observing the health of that data in real time becomes very critical for that credit scoring. Now, as you have that proactive health check and observability, then what? When you identify an issue, what happens? You got to be able to really link that to the source of the problem, to the source data, and also understand the impact in downstream analytics. Right. So this is where we see the convergence of data observability, data quality, data governance, and sharing metadata becomes so critical to enable this in a proactive manner.
Makes a lot of sense.
And if I were to add to what you're saying, is that I discover the data in an analytical architecture. First of all, I have too many sources now. Correct. It used to be that all my sources were inside my firewall. Now I've got hundreds of SaaS products. Each one has its own metadata. So as I ingest, I am using machine learning. I'm detecting the metadata. Metadata is also inferring what are the relationships and rules.
Correct.
And if I find there's an anomaly because of observability, and I kick off a task to, say, a data remediation, data quality product, once that data quality product fixes a problem, I want that metadata to feed back into my catalog. So it's a single pane of glass. I can see, and if I have all of this metadata, then to your point, I can use machine learning, and I can proactively notify people if something is going to go wrong. So very quickly, we go from being very reactive to being very proactive.
Great. So metadata really is a key, one of the things that we focus upon, kind of, as a single plane, kind of that, organizations and customers have to pay attention to with much more perseverance, kind of like we had to do with data. And then kind of obviously kind of integrated set of services that leverage that is absolutely mission critical going forward. So let's talk about maybe one topic which I know the audience would is on everyone's mind, which is AI and ML. So it's become so part of the social fabric with things like ChatGPT now. So how do you think about AI and ML in this world of getting to trusted data as part of the modern data stack? Thoughts?
Yeah, so very, very fascinating question and very relevant based on the in the environment today. We're seeing kind of technology really pushing the envelope on AI and ML, machine learning, generative AI, and large models, right? Large learning models, and you've got deep neural networks now, and all of these technology acceleration is driving business outcomes that we had not seen before, right, for customers, right? So, and that we're seeing across the business spectrum, a lot of use cases, right? And financial services, you've got financial forecasting. In health and life sciences, we are seeing ailment prediction and disease probability. And we're seeing claim geography in insurance, all kind of use cases. But this AI and ML, where it's creating all this great news and excitement, there's a lot of governance and compliance requirement as well that need to be brought to bear for us to be able to benefit from the best that AI and ML has to offer. The good news, there are regulatory requirements that are coming in. There's some guidance, right, from Fed, from FTC, from FDIC recently for banks, model risk management requirements like SR 11.7, and many other supervisory guidance from these governing bodies that, coupled with the advancement in machine learning, will ensure that we have consistency in the decisions that are being made from some of these machine learning models. And the decisions are not biased. They are not driven by stereotypes. And data drift is maintained with constant retraining of models, right? So I see kind of that machine learning evolving to solve a lot of business problems that we had never thought machine learning as a candidate for or a vehicle for, but also with a lot of governance so that the companies and enterprises are not discouraged from using machine learning. In fact, they should be encouraged to bring in machine learning along with this compliance and regulatory guidance that they should bake in.
Absolutely. Now, Tendu, you have a team precisely focused upon AI and ML. What are some of the things that you're observing and also kind of in your conversations with customers?
Sure. In Precisely Labs, we are focused on how do we create more intelligence from data and more value out of data. And there are a number of ways that AI, ML can and should be really helping to increase the integrity of data. First one is all about automation. Right? When we are processing so many data sources, the volume and the velocity of the data that's coming, as well as the metadata, is creating the need for automation. So that's one area, definitely AI ML benefits that. The second area is that understanding the critical data elements. We have customers where the attributes of data is 40 million.
Right.
And 40 million attributes are feeding into 40 dashboards. So identifying, mining the metadata, treating metadata like the new big data problem, and mining metadata to understand what are the critical data elements that I should be paying attention becomes really important, and where AI ML again comes into picture. And then the third one is when we talk about intelligence, context matters. Making recommendations in that end-to-end data pipeline is becoming more and more critical with the sheer size of the data and metadata that we are working, making recommendations for how to remediate data issues, making recommendations on how to actually add additional context. We have insurance customers. They are doing predictive analytics and risk analytics in terms of how the hurricane or catastrophic events are going to impact insured areas and predict claims before it happens, and also identify opportunities for growth for customers who are not
Right.
insured in those areas, identifying properties for opportunities.
Right. You know, it's, I keep on thinking every year I think it's such an exciting time to be in kind of our space. And it's even more so. And this conversation, I think, just highlights kind of the amazing amount of innovation. Sure. You know, a lot of business challenges still to be solved, but all the great work kind of that's happening in order to evolve capabilities. So what would be kind of a final word of advice that maybe I could ask each of you to share for the audience that they should be considering?
I would say the most important thing is to get your hands dirty, experiment. Because what happens is that these technologies are all available. For example, ChatGPT, everyone is using, you asked the question about ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is going to open internet database. With very little experimentation, you can start using it for your specific task on your own data and start deriving new intelligence, new insights from your corporate data. So there is no other option but to get your hands dirty and start experimenting.
Right, great.
For me, I'll say three things. Back to basics, right? Establish an enterprise data strategy and establish a chief data office to execute on that strategy and monitor progress. Number two, identify the right owners for your data. And they should be in business. IT should not own data. And number three, get top-down support for that data strategy and multi-year investment so that the enterprise can become a data-driven enterprise at the end of a few years investment.
Got it.
And from my perspective, always start with the business case and desired outcomes. Make data integrity a priority, not an afterthought. Data integrity, data quality, governance, these practices have to be taught part of the data strategy. And the last one is automate as much as possible.
That was a fantastic conversation. So thank you so much, Atif, Tendu, and Sanjeev for joining us today.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you.
Great pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you to all of today's keynote speakers for a tremendous start to Trust 23. Now let's take a moment to hear from some of our customers.
So in the telecom industry, we have generally a wide variety of products. We have video products, internet products, phone products, mobile, over-the-top, internet-delivered products. In that space, you can imagine with millions of customers that there's a lot of data. Being able to go in and validate that the charges that are being sent are accurate, that they're being billed for everything that they receive, that they're authorized for everything they are billed for, that the accounting side is kept whole and complete and is audit compliant. It's very, very important to run the business from a back office perspective where I am, and being able to understand and sign off on financial statements that go out to the street and have our auditors come in, look at this software, look at this data, look at these processes, and be comfortable that everything is complete, accurate, and it is signed off and approved.
Data quality and data governance are the two sides of the same coin. You cannot enhance your data governance program without looking at the data quality and building the trust with the data. You start by looking at what data quality dimension is important for your organization. You define them, and then you integrate them in a manner that it start providing business value. You have to take multi-pronged approach. It is our responsibility as a data governance leaders and professionals that we create the right environments where we can take on these critical gaps. First, we must learn and find a way to speak business language with our business leaders, analysts, general data consumers, and users. One may ask, what is a business language? It is our mental and physical state of mind where we approach almost everything from a business/data perspective. I must say it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It needs passion and patience at various combinations. We have to apply both at various stages in our data discussions.
Thank you to all of today's keynote speakers for a tremendous start to Trust 23. And next, we're headed into breakout sessions, where we'll go to a level deeper with subject matter experts available to answer questions, where you can schedule demos or one-on-one conversations. We're just getting started at Trust 23. Thanks, everyone.